Wow, it's so nice to see all of the amazing PE people. How are you all doing this evening? Okay, so what is it that you know about Louise Hay? Anything? What stands out when you think of her, if you know her, that is? How many of you do know her? Raise your hand so I can know. What is the one thing that stands out for you when you think of Louise Hay? Yes.
Positivity.
Positivity.
Inspiration.
Inspiration.
Hay house.
Hay house, yes. The big hay house. Okay, what stands out for me was her humanity and without deliberation. She did not deliberate. She did not wake up one morning and say, how I'm going to make this massive difference in the world and, open a publishing house and do all these amazing things. No, she was just a broken caravan. And what was so relatable about Louise that she had gone through this human experience with great struggle. She came into this world. Her first 5 years was already riddled with pain. She was raped as a little girl of 5, and her journey just went tumbling down from there. And we talk about 90 years ago, in a time where this kind of education was not so openly out there. Yes, in America they had lots of metaphysical churches at the time, so they were teaching the positivity already. However, not in the places where Louise had come from. So when I say humanity, I mean just like you and me. Just like you and me, fumbling along, just having this human experience, not really being handed anything but that experience. And obviously journeying through from that 5-year-old all the way up, fast forward her life until she was like maybe 40 years old. So in that 40-year period, just like you and I, going from thought to thought, thought to thought, and every thought we think creates an emotion. And those emotions churn and churn days and weeks and months and years, and they become experiences along the way. So the quality of our health and the quality of our lives and the quality of our life experiences trace back to the quality of our thoughts. Of course, she didn't have that information back then. None of us really do. I don't know about you, but the school I went to, they didn't teach me about the power of my thoughts. They taught me 1 + 1 is 2. They didn't say fear plus anger equals pain. They didn't teach me that. None of us really learned that. So how is it that somebody ends up with a disease? How is disease created in the body? Is it inherited? Is it from our diet? Is it from those thoughts and those emotions? Where's it really from? So Louise, having met with cancer in her 40s, was forced to ask this question. Now, what we need to know about Louise at the time she was diagnosed with cancer, being in her 40s, she was already teaching this positive information about your thoughts, create your feelings, create your results. And if you can just go back to the thought, and if you can just reframe that thought, and if you can dissolve the emotions that the previous negative thoughts created, you could actually change results in your life. So she's teaching this for about 2 to 3 years, and then she gets a diagnosis. She has cancer. And this forces her to go deeper into what is really behind this. It's nice to teach it. It's nice for me to also teach it to everybody about my thoughts and how I can create my reality and how spirituality comes into all of that. But when you are met with that life experience, that's the biggest test, because I can talk and talk and you can talk and talk, but when that experience comes, that's when the exam happens. So when Louise has this diagnosis and she calls her dear teacher at the time, she says, they say I've got cancer. And the teacher says, Louise, you could not have been doing all this work on yourself to now die of cancer. Let's take that positive approach. And so she started the inner journey. And that's what I'd like to speak to you about today, your inner journey. Once upon a time, you were a little baby. And you came into this world a wonderful, pristine soul. Can you remember the time? I can take you there. It's very easy to go there. And I want to teach you something today. I want to share with you some tools. I want to share with you some information. And I'd like to pass something on to you that could perhaps in some way tonight plant a seed or influence you to achieve that state again. That state of peace. You know, a lot of people contact us as Heal Your Life facilitators or coaches, whatever role we're playing, and normally say, I want to have happiness. I'm really tired of all of the stress and pain and I want happiness. And most often I redirect that. I said, what if we just started with peace? What if peace was just enough for us? Because you see, the way we are designed, that the moment we step into joy, the equal opposite is available immediately. What's the opposite of joy? Sadness. Sadness?
Fear.
Happiness, fear, pain.
Pain, sadness. So when I step into joy, what's also available to me? The opposite. This contrast is where we live. We're living in the world of contrast. Our emotions have contrast. We have positive and negative emotions in contrast. So when we say positivity, we're saying the opposite exists. So it's not a magic recipe that if I catch a negative thought and convert it with an affirmation to a positive, I'm going to change my reality. What we need to understand, that negative thought that we have, it was born somewhere. It didn't just come to us. Where did the style of thinking something negative like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I am not beautiful enough, or I'm not wealthy enough, where do these thoughts come from? Where do you think they come from?
Society, media,
Society, media, family,
Education.
conditioning. And where does that conditioning come from?
our environment.
Our environment. And when we were little children. So the things we heard, you see, children don't necessarily learn from what we say. They learn from what they see and what they start modeling in their mind, the conditions that they start creating in their minds. So in the first 5 years, whatever the conditioning was in your environment becomes part of your makeup. And then you go to school. And depending on what was in that conditioning, whatever happens in your childhood experience and how you interpret it, that becomes your filing system. And this filing system can start ruling your life. Next 5 years, and next 5 years, and next 5 years. And your whole life has just been about this chain of thoughts, positive or negative. Think of all of the amazing things you do in your life. All of the amazing things you have. It's because of your thoughts. The positive thoughts will create those positive results. But the ones that get you stuck and the one that gets diseased to actually reach your cells are these negative thoughts. And it is these negative thoughts is where we visit. If I go to a negative thought, there's an experience behind it. And in an experience, there's emotions. And those emotions are moving through my body, through my bloodstream. You know, have you been to a bus rank or a taxi rank? Raise your hands if you have, so I know. What, yes? What happens there?
It's really busy.
It's
Chaos.
busy. It's chaos. It's much like that in the brain. It's much like this in this head center. You know, if you can just imagine there's buses. Oh no, let's go. Do you all have taxis here? Those 12-seater taxis that we play? Okay. All right, we're all in South Africa. Why am I even asking that question? So imagine that we're in the taxi rank where people get into these taxis. So you need to know where you're going, right? So you find that taxi and you get in, and then when that taxi is full, the driver starts up and he drops whoever off wherever. All right. So let's imagine the taxi rank is full of these lovely taxis, and your thoughts are the people. And just in case something not so happy is going on in your life, let's say you've got retrenched or someone betrayed you. And what thoughts do you think you are having in that moment when you are triggered? Positive or negative? Negative. Naturally, you're human. In that moment, you can't just quickly switch into, I'm feeling positive emotions. No, you're human. You are experiencing those negative emotions. So what happens, those passengers of thoughts get into these taxis and they speed off, and they get off at your liver and your kidney and your knees and your heart and your shoulders and wherever that tension will show up. And imagine if you're continuously having those negative thoughts. Maybe that incident stays with you for 7 days. 7 days of passengers being dropped off because the movie is playing in the back of our mind. Yes, we're busy doing this. Yes, we're smiling. Yes, we're even saying our affirmations. But the movie of that one incident is still playing in the back of our mind. And that is how these emotions journey. Now, there's scientific terms for all of this. I just like playing with metaphors. Okay, those are, in scientific terms, those are neuropeptides. So it's little, where hormones travel through your bloodstream. Now, this deteriorates your physical body over a period of time. So I just want you to think of your physical body right now as you sit here. Your body is always talking. It's talking to you right now. When it's hungry, it tells you, right? When it's thirsty, when it's sleepy, it's always talking. Can you train yourself to listen to your body? Because if you listen to your body, it's a physical, tangible symptom. You cannot ignore. You can't say, well, this is in my head. If you can learn to listen to your body, and if you could trace it back to a thought and a feeling, you get to know the passengers, don't you? And if you trace it back to where the passenger came from, you'll go to an experience. And in that experience, other people are involved. Someone else or some circumstance or situation. So now it takes you back to an experience. And in that experience with that person or people, there's emotions. And what are those emotions? They fall under 4 main categories. They're either anger, fear, guilt, or grief. Something, one of those 4 emotions is playing out in that experience. Now, to prevent, we're going back to cause, right? To prevent your body from having those ailments, we have to come to this emotion. What have you learned about managing emotions? What do you know about emotions?
Energy and motion.
Energy in motion? Yes.
As soon as the emotion arises, become aware of that emotion so you can deal with it instantly.
And if you don't deal with it, it deals with you.
Yes.
So it gets into the taxi, it travels through your body, and you run a state. And if you were to deal with it, which means that when the incident happened, when that experience happened, when you got triggered, you need to have skills on what to do with it. And do you know what to do with it? What do you do with anger when you're triggered? How many of you blurt it out? How many of you swallow it down? You know the answer to these questions. We all in this room have emotions. We all are triggered. Maybe it's not anger, maybe it's frustration. Maybe it's a little bit of irritation. But a little bit of irritation and a little bit more and a little bit more becomes frustration. And frustration can build into anger. And anger, when it's not dealt with in a healthy way, and if it's not released and dissolved, can become resentment. And resentment causes things like cancers. You see? So you want to take a responsibility. You want to understand that you are 100% responsible for the condition of your physical body. And it's not just showing up in the physical body, it's showing up in your bank account, mind you. It's showing up in your relationships in terms of harmony and function and balance. Every thought we think is doing this to our bodies, our lives, and our circumstances. And who has the power to manage that? I can't do it for you, and you can't do it for me. Only you can do it for you. And it's really not a conundrum. It really is as simple as my thoughts create my reality. You see, each one of us on this planet, we all have a destination. And yes, we come to beautiful places like this where we can learn to breathe and center and have a sense of connectedness. We all are looking to be connected. We all have this need to feel safe and to feel loved. And love is the only thing we seem to pursue. I mean, we have jobs because we have loved ones at home. We want to go out and make a difference in the world because we love people. You know, we strive and we want to build something stable because there's love. We do everything in this name of love. And yes, of course, we have the fairy tale love stories and, you know, everyone's looking for that romance. But love, at the end of the day, no matter how young or old we are, love is always that goal. I've never met a person that entered my coaching room that was not looking for love. Even if it was from a manager that was rejecting them. They were looking for acceptance. And yet, in the name of looking for love, we get so stuck in fear. And fear is what traps us. Fear causes things like heart attacks in the body. You know, fear is like a sudden thing. Think of when you get scared. You don't just psych yourself up to get scared. Somebody just whoop, and then you're scared. Okay? So it sneaks up on you. A heart attack sneaks up on us. So when you're running anxieties and nervousness over your finances, over this person that I can't trust, or, you know, I'm not adequate, or whatever that is that you're running, that is where the heart is racing. And that heart ends up having lots of problems. Guilt. Guilt is a big one. It's a heavy one. Everyone makes mistakes. And everyone's doing the best that they can. However, when the guilt is sitting on your shoulders, it causes things like chronic pain. Anyone you ever felt pain? Physical pain in your life? I do hope so. Even if it's a bumped toe. Are you understanding what I'm saying in terms of this link between your thoughts and the results in your life? And are you also hearing me say that you are not stuck, that you can unlearn certain patterns? And it's not about creating this, you know, this ever prosperous, shiny, sparkly life. That's not where I'm going. If that is what you want to achieve, then by all means you can. However, I'm really speaking about peace. And peace is a cultivation process. It requires patience, and it requires you to be very, very transparent and honest with yourself. It means that you're going to have to go back to the taxi ride. And you're going to have to go back and look at the experience. And you're going to have to go back and learn how to dissolve those emotions of anger, fear, guilt, and grief in order for you to be set free. And maybe set free from that experience. Not that you'll be set free your whole life. It doesn't mean that once you start learning how to do this, you'll never feel the emotions that we humans are subject to. You will always feel them. You'll always have experiences. Because why do we have experiences, by the way? Why do we keep creating these experiences and having them? What is the purpose of it? Why can't we just lock up shop and sit in the mountains? Why do we have experiences? Who knows?
Because that's where the soul grows.
That's how the soul grows?
To learn.
To learn. To grow. And if we stop doing that, we'll stagnate and die anyway. Because anything that's not growing is dying. Are you dying? Or are you living? Do you think it? What's going on inside your mind? What's going on inside your body? Do you even know how to listen to that body? Are you feeding your body what it's needing and asking for, or are you eating from your emotions? Are you sleeping well at night? If you are, great, but what if you're not? What's happening with you in your relationships? Are you a beggar? Do you know who you are? Are you connected with who you are? Have you met yourself? You know we have these partners and these children and we want them to adore us and we'll do anything. We'll provide and we'll go through whatever for them. Our friends, our colleagues, everybody, because that acceptance is so needed. But unless we don't know us, how can we expect someone else to know us? And we fight with them. We tell them, you don't know me. Of course they don't know you, because you don't know you. When last did you look into your own eyes? How many of you look into your own eyes? Every day.
Every day.
Every day. Tell me about it.
When I brush my teeth at night,
And
I look into my own eyes.
and what happens?
I connect.
With whom?
Me.
And what does it feel like?
Mostly okay.
Mostly.
Sometimes a bit guilty.
You see what happens when you look in the mirror, you see the truth. So that's why we say sometimes okay. You know, when I first started looking at my eyes in the mirror, it was like, what am I doing? This is like so crazy. Louis saying, what is this? Like really, Louis says, look into the mirror and learn to like the girl. Learn to like the girl. And I don't know what that meant. Why must I even like me? You know why? Because me exists. Me is divine. And divine essence is flowing through me. And when I'm sitting in meditation, before I had learned that I existed, it was just the creator. And now I found this sense of where the creator resides in me. It's because I connected with me. And from there, all healing is possible. This is why wherever there's a space where we can connect with the divine, it is important we do. But then apply to it the awareness that I am here as that instrument, or I am here in a role, or I am here as even an actor or an actress, whatever it is you hear, whatever you want to call yourself. But your life has meaning. Your soul has a destination. It is here to evolve from the state it arrived, evolved so that when it leaves this world, imagine if you were a light, and when you arrived here, you flashing on number 6. And all these life experiences, you know, the people that smack you and push you and betray you, and all of those actors and actresses on your stage. And each one came, and if you just got the lesson, if you just could see past those emotions that I mentioned and dissolve those emotions and see the gold in that dark, you gain that light and you magnify it and you magnify it. And one day when you leave, maybe you're a 9 or 8, maybe brighter. That is what we're here to do. We're here to evolve. When you look at the word evolve, it has the word love in it. Evolve towards love. But how do we get to love? I'm not talking about unconditional love. How does one get to unconditional love?
Loving yourself.
Loving yourself,
Dissolving the ego.
dissolving the ego,
Being true to yourself.
being true to yourself.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. That's the answer I was looking for. The doorway to unconditional love is forgiveness. To go forth and give. You see, we are good givers. Anyone here are good givers? Raise your hands. I want to see all the givers in the room. What do you give? What is it you're giving?
So
Love?
Time.
Time, energy. We are good givers. Are we good receivers? That already you imbalanced. Already you imbalanced. Why aren't we good receivers?
it feels wrong. It feels selfish. Lucky.
Feel we're not worth
You know, I'll share a story with you. So in 2008, my mentor is in England, and Louise Hay had offered me to come to the US or England to train for this work because I had been writing a lot. I'm very persistent, very eager to learn. And I didn't have the money to go. I am from Pietermaritzburg, and I remember my mom died in 2002. And 2 years prior to 2002, I had come home from the office and having one of those days, you know, when you can imagine the thoughts going through my head. I've got one child in the bath, one child doing homework, a husband who's never home, and I am highly stressed. And I'm busy chopping these vegetables with the stress, and I'm chopping it, and there's Oprah on the television because it numbed my mind. And there's this woman, I don't know, her name was Louise Hay, and she's sitting with a scan of the cancer, and she's saying, Louise Hay created this, so it's a scan of the cancer and then a scan of no cancer. And I put the television off, and I thought, I'm saying to myself, these Americans and their before and after pictures, you know, like how the weight loss is. And I put the telly off, not knowing anything. I was so much in my pain and so much in my oblivion. And 2 years after that, I'm sitting at my mom's funeral, and I remember that I caught on Oprah that it was, she had reverse cancer, and my mom was diagnosed with cancer in October, and 8 weeks later, she had passed. And I was just challenged at reconciling this whole experience. I could not understand, because we were, you know, we did everything by the medical side of things. We ate healthy, we were a fitness family, we were, you know, no ghees and all of the masalas and whatever. So it's not that typical rotis and whatever. It was by the book. My mom made sure we were active. So how is it? She looked young, she was fit, she walked, we did everything by the book. So how did she get this cancer? And I remember sitting at my mom's funeral, and I'm thinking about, who was that woman on Oprah? You know, the before and after woman, and I couldn't get her name. And it took, I call it a quantum moment. You know, when you lose someone like your mom to a disease like cancer and you're totally oblivious, it can knock the wind out of you. And my grief had instigated this quest to find, what does that woman know? I want to know what she knows. I never knew she wrote books. I didn't know anything about her. And eventually I did find out who she was, and I wrote to her, and my little Pietermaritzburg mind. In this letter I wrote, Dear Louise, I'm just a little Indian girl from Pietermaritzburg. And then I told her my story. And I remember going to the post office, putting on, I've never posted a letter overseas up until that time. And I'm thinking as I'm posting this famous woman is going to pay attention to this little lady. Anyway, I posted it, and I'm like, nah, she'll never. And she didn't. And I waited a whole month. And I waited 2 months. And every now and then I'll have that thought, like, what if it was? What if she did get it? Never mind. I'm so small, she's so big. And then one day I get a letter. And I remember I would go, every day I'd go to the guy that collected our mail. And I'd ask him, Uncle George, did it come today? And he would say, no, my girl. And on this day, he came running to me. And he says, there's a letter from America. And I was like, oh my God. And I must know, everyone in my office knew about this little secret thing I had going. You know, it's no longer a secret. And I opened it up in a private moment, and it just says, Dear one, not even Dear Ashika, Dear one, if you believe you're just a little Indian girl from Pietermaritzburg, then that's what you are. Love, Louise. Talk about those emotions in the taxi ride. My ears were on fire. I was like running all of these emotions. I am so insignificant. She didn't even understand. I wrote like so much, and she's like, and I was like, so, how arrogant. I mean, why would she say that? I was in my sleep stage at that time. This was like, it was not computing. And then everyone wants to know about this letter, and I just said, no, she wrote back, and she gave me advice. I was lying. I was so embarrassed. Put it in the book and put it on my bookshelf. And a few weeks later, maybe about 5 weeks later, part 2 came. And that's when she replied to me. And she said, you know what? Your thoughts create your reality. Your thoughts. If you keep thinking you're just this little Indian girl, you'll always be that. So let's look at your thoughts. And I had written to her about how can I study this and how can I help people with cancer, and I was going into mission and whatever. And she's just saying to me that it's very, very simple. Ashika, learn just to love you. And there's nothing more you need to learn. Because you don't have to get to forgiveness. When you love yourself, you naturally come to a place of compassion. And when you have compassion, you can understand for another person and for yourself. And when you have compassion and understanding, forgiveness is not something you think about. It's something that automatically happens. And yes, I know there are things that happen in our life that do not make sense. There are struggles that we go through that do not make sense. There's hurts and pains and brokenness we go through that do not make sense. They're not meant to make sense. They are meant to help us grow. And the only way to grow is to go through it. And there's many things, it's like a backlog of stuff that we've got in our past. And everything is stored in our unconscious mind. It's never lost. We may sometimes think what happened to us in standard 2 or grade 2 or standard 2, that teacher. But you know what? Your unconscious mind doesn't know that that's past. It doesn't know that. So the things that we're carrying from the childhood wounds and the adolescent wounds and the young adult wounds and the adult wounds, they are stored there. And they are, over time, it just gets heavier and heavier and heavier. And at some point, your body's going to say to you, I can't cope with it. I've been giving you alarm signals along the way. I gave you that shoulder pain, you didn't listen. I gave you that knee jerk, you didn't listen. I gave you that earache, you didn't listen. So because you didn't listen, I had no choice but to keep nagging you and now stop you. And still most of us don't get it by then. Because then we go and we say to the doctor, help me to just help this shut up. Let's take a pill and shut it up. The moment you take a pill for a headache, you're telling that head, I'm not willing to listen. Just keep quiet. You understand? So I'm not saying there's no place for medical science. There is. I'm just saying, alongside what your doctor is doing for you, there's another side. And that's only you can do. You got to learn about it yourself. You got to take a book. You got to visit, create a timeline. The first 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Look at each segment of your life and see what is in those little capsules of time. Maybe there's a bully somewhere in your past, or someone, your first crush, innocent experience. Your first crush that rejected you, and you're living it out your whole life through so many relationships. Identify what those things are, who those people are. They don't need to be here now for you to get closure. And then look at each experience, because each one's got toxins in it. Our toxins created through those emotions that are not dealt with. And then you start cleaning out the closets of the mind. And as you clean it up, your cells start to renew. And you start getting healthier. It's not so much about living forever. It's about living healthy for as long as you have your body and your life. So how do we clean out those emotions? Who knows? Yes.
Meditate.
Meditate. And what do you do when you meditate?
Connecting with yourself.
Okay, and what happens if I connect with myself? How is that going to dissolve, like anger or fear or guilt or grief? You see, that's where we go, right? So meditation is an amazing tool. It's one of the most amazing tools we have, because it takes you out of the chaos and it brings you to a center. But when you're in the center, that's your point of power. So I connect with what is divine to me. So I connect with myself and divine. So in that moment, I elevate myself out of the chaos. And I'm at least in a centered space. When I'm in a centered space, I'm not attached to this that's happening, but I'm also not attached to what's happening above me, which is the divine side, right? I'm really much in my center. And there's some tools you can use to dissolve those emotions. Would you like to do it now? I can show it to you. It will take you a few minutes, something you can do at home.
Yes, please.
All right. So what you do is you sit up straight. So you can do this anywhere at any time, right? Preferably when you're not driving. All right. Always make sure your nose is aligned to your navel. This is a body posture that says that I am in my center. All right. Gently close your eyes. And just take a few deep breaths in through your nose, out your mouth. With each breath, just imagine you're letting go of your day. And as you focus on your breathing, you realize your body has its own natural rhythm. Just follow the rhythm of your breathing. And now let us go to a place or an experience or a person that you know there's some conflict. Could be in the past, could be in the present, could be something very small and insignificant or something really big. Just trust whatever comes up. I want you to become aware of the emotion that comes up as you see this person. And when you feel it, become aware of what it is. Is it anger? Is it lighter than anger? Maybe a little frustration, or is it stronger than anger? Is it fear? Is it stronger than fear, like terror? Or is it lighter, like nervousness or anxiousness? And then guilt. Are you feeling any guilt? Is it stronger, like regret? Or is it lighter, like maybe I'm a bit ashamed or embarrassed? Or is there maybe some grief, some kind of sadness? Just become aware of that emotion. And become aware of where in your body you're feeling that emotion right now. And then breathe into that part of your body and release that emotion for now. Just breathe into it and let it go for now. And now I want you to see that person. And I want you to imagine that you have an opportunity to speak your truth. Yes. If you were to say or speak your truth to this person right now in that imagination, what is it that you need to say? I want you to imagine that you're emptying out with them. It's a safe space, so you're just speaking your truth. And all they're doing is they're just listening. And really empty it out. Speak, because speaking is a form of release in your mind. When you're done, just give them a moment to speak to you too. Just listen to what they have to say. And as you listen to them, I want you to witness. Just witness them. Become aware of the qualities you're judging in them. What are you judging about this person? What is it about them that has disappointed you or angered you? And ask yourself, have I myself ever behaved in this way? Do I have these qualities too? Is this person doing the best they could? And if they could have done better, would they? It's very important to find understanding. And now ask yourself, what closure can you get from this experience? What is it that you need to learn from this experience? What is in it for you? What is this experience teaching you about yourself? And what growth is it offering you? Because everything that comes to us matches us. Everything is for us. When we just look past the illusion. Just want you to breathe into that realization, whatever it is. I want you to look at that person and ask yourself, am I willing to set this person and myself free from this conflict or situation? If not all of it, but at least some. You don't have to rush these things. But whatever your decision is, communicate it to that person. Maybe you just want to say, I'm willing to learn how to be willing to set you free. Go easy on yourself. You don't have to go 0 to hero on these things. But be very, very sincere to yourself. And with that, you take away your learning from this experience. You know you are willing to learn to grow. And you're willing to learn to find the gold in the dark. And as you take a nice deep breath, you witness them being set free so they too can learn and grow from this experience, knowing that you too are serving them. You are deeply thankful for the opportunity to be here and grow. And bring your focus back to yourself. And let's see if you can have some compassion for yourself right now. What is it you need to say to yourself, the part of you that's going through the conflict or the hurt or the pain or the disappointment? What is it you need to say to that person? Just open your heart. Open your heart for that person. And if you're having a deep emotion, just breathe into it. It's okay. This is a safe space. You're doing the best you can. Be willing to have compassion and love for yourself. Then imagine that you're receiving the most amazing blessing in this moment. Imagine that the divine is pouring this amazing light over you, almost as if bathing you, cleansing you, returning you to good balance. And if there's one positive thought that you can bring back with you right now, so that you can take to bed with you and wake up with in the morning, what would that positive thought be right now? Just one positive thought. Nice deep breath. Acknowledge yourself. Acknowledge yourself. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Good morning. Where have you all gone? Hey? You're traveling. How are you all doing? Would anyone like to share? How you feeling? You have to tell me what was happening in there. Keep that's your inner process. Anyone wants to share?
It's very nice to actually have that conversation with that person. But I felt like I could have had a longer conversation.
A longer
with them,
conversation.
yeah, and give them more time to actually hear.
Yes.
So I'll definitely use that as a tool.
So ideally, you want to do such an exercise. When you have time, keep a journal and a pen, a notebook and a pen, and you can easily take yourself there. You don't need anyone to facilitate this. You just close your eyes, lay on your bed or on your lovely sofa, and just go with it. Just take yourself there, nice deep breath. It could be something that happened in the day. Imagine if you did this every day. Every day before you went to bed, you brought up everyone from that day. Every single one, you know? And you dished out and you dished out and you dished out and you dished out and you dished out. And then you empty it out. And then you bring up all the people that added to your day. And then you say, I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful. And then you kind of balance that out in your mind. And you go to bed with that. That's peace. That's peace. So if I can empty out every day, this is a ritual that I do every single night. I reconcile my day. Because there are days that I also judge myself. I'm really, really hard on myself, perhaps. So it's important for me to actually just get a reality check with myself. You see, we can prevent ourselves from the stress that we carry. And we don't always have to go knocking on people's doors and say, 20 years ago, this is what you did, and I spent the last 20 years just ruining my life. We don't have to do that. We can just close our eyes. We can go and have this conversation and really, really empty out the longer conversations. And when you come out of that space, you can also just write. You can even say, Dear John, do you know, and get into your story because you empty it out of the mind. And then you destroy that, let it burn it, tear it, let it go. And then you go and you deal with yourself and you do something like you pick up a mirror, you look into your eyes and say, wow, well done. Well done, you actually went there. And then you reinforce, you acknowledge yourself. You see, building your spirit is an act of love. To be kind to yourself is an act of love. To be gentle with yourself is an act of love. But do you know how? Do you know how to be kind and gentle to yourself? Have you even learned? Are you one of those people that take out the bat and whack yourself all the time? Oh, why did I do that? Why didn't I do that? Oh, I'm so late for this. Oh, my life is going. Oh, the clock is ticking. We do all of that to ourselves. Do you know how many thoughts are going through this mind on a daily basis? And it took you 30 seconds to close your eyes, fall into an emotion, and go into a journey. You have the power to heal. You have the power to find unconditional love here while you're on earth. It's not a destination. It's in you all the time. You were born with that. It's vibrating within you. And when you sit in meditation, it's activated. The thing is, when you leave meditation session, you go back into what is noisy. And the noise is not always on the outside. It's mostly on the inside. You see, your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. If you're living in a life where it's utterly uncomfortable, where there's lots of chatter around you and chaos and things are not working out, close your eyes and turn the lens inward. You'll see why you're seeing those things. And as I said earlier, even in the bank account, Even there, you can heal your bank account because you're having belief systems about money and deservability, and you get stuck. There's enough money on this planet, yet we have so much of poverty. We don't have poverty because of a lack of money. We don't have starving people because of a lack of food. We have enough food on this planet. It's a lack of love. And if I can take the responsibility to love me, and if you and you and you and you and you and each one of us took responsibility to love self, and everyone on the planet did that, we'd never have to say we have to change this world. This world is a beautiful world. It sincerely is a beautiful world. And what makes it beautiful is how we create the world inside. So ask yourself, what are you willing to do to shift yourself into a better feeling space, into that place called balance? You see, when we pray, this is the posture. What does it mean?
Symmetry.
Why symmetry? Why the balance?
Letting the legs come together and become one.
The right and left is symbolic of your duality. In your oneness, you stand before your Creator. But this oneness can only happen when I embrace the both sides of the humanity, which is my duality. We all have that negative, we all have available to us this negative aspect. But negative is not bad. It's required so that you can learn the opposite. You understand? We can't know the beautiful of the stars if we don't have darkness. So the contrast is here to serve us, but instead it's destroying us. Because something somebody did a long time ago is still living in us. The question is, are you willing to learn how to have love and compassion? It doesn't condone anyone's poor behavior. Forgiveness does not condone anyone's poor behavior. We're not saying that the other person's right in what they did. We're saying we no longer want to carry the injection that is pierced in our body because of what they did. You see, somebody does something to you and then the poison's in your body and you're living and you're playing the movie and you're carrying on with life, and 20 years later you look back and you say, do you know 20 years ago you did that? And they say, what are you talking about? They're clueless. They're happy. You're the one that's carrying this. Much to think about, but it's very simple. We don't have to worry about how we're going to get all of this and clean up and make it all squeaky clean and get the help. Let go of all of that. Just be willing. Be willing to learn to like yourself. And like Louis said, if you just believe you're just a little dot, then that's what you are. I'm still a little Indian girl from Pietermaritzburg. But now I'm living a purposeful and meaningful life. A limitless one. And it all began because I recognized the power of the divine and the availability of the divine in my own life. And at the moment I embraced the divine as being received in all of my cells. And that purification can happen through my direction of my thoughts. See, I can sit in meditation with a sore back and I can connect with the divine and I could say thank you for allowing me to be an instrument, and I am able to visualize this beautiful energy that's going through the cells in my body and relieving my body of the load. And in a few minutes my body's like light as a feather. That's not magic or miracle. It's law. It's law. It's spiritual law. That which my mind can conceive, my body will achieve. It's law. So the next time you're feeling stressed, what are you going to do? Yes, but apply your thought to direct the thought into what you want the thought to do in your body. Otherwise it's just up in the air and it all feels so nice and you go back to life, but then the body is still a little bit tense. Learn to breathe, learn to direct your thoughts, and learn to manage your emotions. So the exercise I showed you today is a visualization you can create to dissolve conflict emotions. There are emotions like anger. Have you seen a child that's angry, a little toddler? Describe that for me. What's it like when you see them throwing a tantrum? What do they do?
Stomp their feet.
Stomp their feet. Why is that?
Hold their breath. Stiffen their bodies.
Stiffen their bodies, roll on the floor, scream on top of their voice. Why is that? Why?
The emotion affects them physically.
Physically good. Because anger is an emotion that requires movement. The body cannot just stop. Even now if we sit still, we groomed and it's not your anger, but your ears. Remember when Louis sent me the lift, I said my ears was on fire. And I'm a person that I used to digest my emotions. So when I encountered what Louise was really saying, she was saying to me, Ashika, this anger, this good girl persona you have that makes you acceptable by everybody, but you swallow that anger and swallow it. If you continue doing that, you will implode. So you need to get it out. So I don't know how to get it out because I'm like so soft and, I'm so girly. How do you get this anger? And I've got to get angry. I don't know how to do it. So one day I was walking past this kickboxing place and I heard somebody scream. I didn't even know there was a kickboxing place. And I heard somebody scream and I thought someone's in trouble. And then I looked through the window and said, my God, these people punch bags here. So I went in and I said to this guy, you know what? My mentor said that I need to learn how to kick and scream my anger out. Can you help me? And he just laughed. He said, of course. And I ended up loving kickboxing because he got me into my kicking and screaming. So you may not think you're angry. I didn't know I was angry. I mean, the first 29 years of my life was quite a nightmare. Much like many people, much like Louise. I've had all sorts of traumas and childhood stuff that I didn't even know I had the right to have feelings about. And as I stand here now, I am completely healed, layer after layer after layer. And that's also what you need to realize. Forgiveness doesn't happen because I closed my eyes, spoke my truth, got some closure, and now I'm moving. I am forgiven. It happens in layers, like an onion. So you'll have to sometimes keep revisiting because the bigger ones need longer time, right? The smaller ones are okay. So with me, I went through layer after layer after layer until I can certainly say if that person walks in the door, I have this unconditional love for them. And it began with that list that I started. So if you can create some time for yourself, at least once a week, me time. Lots of people's me time involves avoidance. I'll go to the spa or, then play golf or meditation sometime, going to meditation class. It just means that you just want to go somewhere to feel good, which is amazing. But at least set some separate time for you to look within. Okay, let's take a nice deep breath from all that chatter.